Was it that? How long do you know that the townsfolk were there? I mean, was it a short period of time? Was there immigration to their?
Mm,
Uh,
since I remember, all those who lived there, they were all there before. I used to. Yeah, I remember my grandmother talking about the town. You know, when I used to ask my grandma how old she is, she used to tell me like that. She says, when Moshe Yossel got married, I was a little girl, and his son is so and so. The way sometimes and I used to sit down with a pencil and figure out, either it comes out she was 102 or 103, I could never tell. She never knew how old she was. They never knew. Very seldom. They used to go back, like, remember things. Oh, yeah, they used to tell us, oh, it was really fun. Like, I remember when I supposed to come to the United States, when I finished school, I had an uncle in the United States, and they wanted me to become a tailor. So he'll take me over. He had a shop in New York. So I went to become a tailor. My father paid the guy $100 to teach me the trade. You know, and I worked a year. But of course, the war broke out, and when the papers came, I got stuck. I couldn't go to the United States, so I got stuck. But I remember the way they used to talk, you know, like I go 9 o'clock to work, 8 o'clock to work, 6 o'clock I went out, you know. So he always used to come and says, years ago when I was a little bit, we used to go for a tailor, I used to go to work, we used to go 6 o'clock, till 10 o'clock at night. Says, they used to give me a shot of whiskey, and that was the days, you know. I says, of course, in those days, they used to work 12 and 14 hours. Mm-hmm. So they called those, I remember, they called those the good days. I was ready to modern. I used to leave in the middle and go and play soccer, and, you know, they couldn't believe it. And he used to complain. I says, look, what are you complaining? You don't pay me nothing. My father gave you $100 to teach me. Oh, but he taught me. I don't say that. But you worked like a cheap labor. Mm-hmm. But that was the way it was done. That was the way when you want to become a shoemaker or a stoller, which is, you know, a carpenter or a tailor, you used to pay the guy. He used to work for 2 years without pay.
Just to learn the trade.
Paid to learn the trade. That's the way it was.
Was your parents? Do you remember your parents?
Sure, of course.
What did they do in Krasnopoli?
My father was. He used to rent orchards from the monastery. There was the nuns. Then they had the monasteries. They had the best orchards.
In Krasnopoli?
In Christianople. Just around Christianople. It was. I just brought in. I just mentioned that what I saw. They had belonged to them. So he used to rent him for 3 years, and then the crop, the apples and the pears, whatever it is, belonged to him. And then he had people who used to in the summertime pick him, you know what I mean, and he used to sell. He used to sell them to. He used to sell them to Sokol, to Lemberg. He was a fruit dealer.
And the monastery was right in the city?
Oh yeah, there was a monastery. No,
yeah.
They owned the monasteries, the orchards were out of town, out of Christianople, but they belonged to the monasteries. The one belonged to one belonged to the nuns, what do you call them? Uh-huh. And the other one was the other monasteries to the priests there. They had them different. One's Ukrainian, one was Polish, but they used to take care good of their orchards. But they used to rent them out to dealers, like you rent a car, you know. And my father was one of those.
In Krasnopoli, how many non-Jewish families were there? Do you know? Were Jews the majority?
The majority in that little town, yeah. All those, the Goyim, they lived outside the town. A few lived in town, like for instance, my teacher, my school teacher, Panashuk, he lived in town. Most of him, the more more educated Polacks, Goyim, lived just at the edge of town. They had big houses with a garden. They lived near the river, you know, that belonged to them. They lived outside. But in center of the town was very few Goyim lived. There was just at the edge of town, that's where the Goyim lived. Zavatsky, he was the mailman. He lived there, you know. He lived between the Jews.
My grandmother remembers a mailman who was not Jewish but could speak Yiddish. Was that the same guy?
Yes, that was Zavatsky, yeah. Tall Zavatsky. He speaks Yiddish better than I did. That was him. I went to school with his kids. Yeah, that was Zavatsky.
So describe again the town, just in the way it looked.
And the way it looked, in fact, the director from the school, his name was Panashik. We used to love to pass by his house there. He had the trees, what do you call it? It smells nice.
Like a flower, some kind of tulip tree or something.
What kind?
Tulip tree or
no. What the heck is it?
It smelled a tree that smelled nice.
Yeah, you used to pick him. You used to pick him in the lilac.
Oh, lilac bush.
Yeah, a lot of lilac bushes, and they were beautiful. And we used to pass by, you know. You used to go like a little bit outside of town. There was his house, and right next was the cloister, the Orthodox Ukrainian church, you know. And they were all full of bushes. We used to go pass by because we had the school. When I went to school there, the school was in the monastery, in the cloister.
Right in there.
Right in there. I mean, it belonged to them, you know, like when you went to school, you have religion in school, right? So you have the time when they have the Goyish religion, the Jewish kids wasn't in there, the class, 1 hour. We had religion 1 hour, that was our Jewish religion, we had a Jewish teacher, it was 1 hour, then the Goyish kids were on there, it was just the Jewish kids. That's the way it was. But then after the other subjects, like writing and Polish and history and everything, we went together. Jewish kids and Gentile kids, the same thing. It's just the hour when you had religion, they were separated.
What was the ethnic mixture there? Were there Ukrainians?
There was Polish, Ukrainian, and Jews.
What languages did you speak?
Polish. Well, in most 99% we talked Yiddish.
Yiddish.
That's all.
But if you talk to the mailman,
they teach you Polish. I mean, you know, everybody knew Yiddish. And Ukrainian too, some of them, because we used to deal with them outside of the farmers, most Ukrainians. You know.
Did you get Polish?
Well, it was Austria in 1901. Because it's Polish after that. So after World War I, because we had to be Polish. It was Poland.
But
it belonged to Austria after World War I.
Well, when somebody asks you what was your nationality, do you
Polish?
You say Polish.
Polish.
Because my grandmother considered herself Austrian.
Yeah, I know.
But you're from a later
Polish, right? My father was in the Austrian army. He was in the Austrian army after World War I. In fact, I remember them telling him, Franz Josef, my grandmother used to tell him that. She was a little girl. She went to Austria that time. She saw Kaiser Franz Josef. He was the king, he was the Kaiser up to World War I. After World War I, when they divided Austria in Germany, and they formed Poland,